This is McGarren Flack. Today I'm focusing on thumbnail poster studies. So thumbnail drawings are just really small drawings, like 1 by 2 inches. Poster studies are simplified thumbnail drawings. And these ones specifically focus on simple shapes and also values, keeping the value sets to about 3 values total. As you can see when I'm starting here, this is a painting done by Bierstadt, American artist, landscape painter, and I am drawing with a series of straight lines. As you can see there, I'm breaking up the trees from the ground, from the clouds. And then I'm filling in the value with a relatively flat value. I'm trying to keep it to 3 values total. So foreground value, middle value, and background value. Now to be able to see these different values, this part of the video is actually done in real time, so you can see how I'm taking my time looking at the shapes. What I'm doing is I'm squinting down. You can't see that because I'm behind the camera, but I'm squinting down to simplify the shapes and the values. When you squint, you can see the shadow shapes really easy compared to the light shapes. Each of these drawings are not actually to scale. So each of these squares are about 1 3/4 inches by 2 inches. And the compositions for the master artists, this again is a Bierstadt painting, their compositions are slightly wider. So I'm trying to compensate for the width by fitting it in the composition that I have drawn out here. It's probably best practice just to make a composition the same as your reference so that you can get accuracy in your proportions. But for this, I'm just trying to see what are the big, simple shapes and what is the separation of value. So here I'm filling in the value after I've drawn in the contour of the big, simple shapes. I don't care about the tree shapes. I don't care about the rocky parts of the top of the mountains. I'm just looking at octagons, squares, circles. I'm just really trying to simplify and squint down and see those shapes. So here I'm redefining the contour of those shapes so that I can then fill in a different value. So the rocky mountain areas of this painting are a little bit lighter than the foreground values. And the background is really light in value, so it almost creates a silhouette with the landscape shapes. So I'm really just trying to find those landscape shapes, simplify them, squint down, and determine the value difference between the two. I do not want to go as dark as the value that is in the painting because this is a study. I'm just trying to see relationship changes. So how dark is it? I know that it goes much darker than I'm actually drawing in there, but I'm not going to incorporate that really dark value. This is another painting done by Bierstadt. Again, compositionally, a little bit different. It's not as wide or panoramic as the actual painting is, but I'm trying to simplify those shapes, keep them flat, simple lines, divide the foreground from the middle ground to the background. This painting is done by Thomas Moran. I think it's a castle in Wyoming, Castle Rock in Wyoming, and he did probably 20 or 30 of these Castle Rock paintings. I have multiple references of Castle Rock that I demonstrate here, but you can see because the top of the rock is a little bit darker than the bottom of the rock, I put in that value change because when I squint, those really pop out. But I'm keeping the shapes simple. Once you have those good, simple shapes, you can go back in and redefine them if you feel it's necessary to redefine. This is another one by Thomas Moran, and it's of a geyser up in Wyoming. I think it's Old Faithful. And I'm just, again, squinting down, looking at those simple shapes, and it takes me about 2 to 3 minutes to do each one of these drawings. A total of, I think it was 25 minutes that I took to be able to work on these drawings. I looked online, got a bunch of references to follow, and then worked on trying to simplify the shapes, the values, into big, general, simple shapes. So this is a great practice to do on your own, and you will learn so much, especially on how to simplify. But again, the keys to simplifying: squint down so you can divide the light shapes from the shadow shapes, or the light shapes from the dark shapes, and draw with a straight line. I'm putting in some curves, like here in the pool. There's another Thomas Moran painting. The spring that is there, I am just using a slight curve to be able to differentiate those darker values versus the lighter values. Straight lines fill in a relatively flat value. If you have a gradient in there, I like to use gradients, and instead of drawing an outline for every shape, I will just put in a gradient, especially in the skies. If the sky's there and I want to just put in something simple, I will. So here's one different thing. I put in the trees with just vertical lines. I didn't go in and outline each tree. That's mostly because I'm still looking at the general shape. I'm trying to indicate the value difference, drawing it in as fast as I can. So speed on these drawings, simple shapes, and simple values. Here's that Castle Rock painting again. Well, another view of the Castle Rock painting. But I mean, you've seen already 3 different versions of the same mountain from Moran. He was a stellar artist. All right, here's the last one. This one is a photograph of Yellowstone, the Great Pool, or I can't remember the name of this actual location, but just squinting down, looking at those simple values. The water's a little dark. The trees are darker value. I'm using triangles to figure out what those general shapes are for the trees. That's basically it. I hope you enjoy working on your drawings, and I hope this info was beneficial. If not, that really sucks. Have a great day.